Are you ready to face me, hero? Batter up, you evil bitch.
No contest.
Wait, what the fuck? Super Smash Bros. Melee is a game that's been played competitively for over 20 years without any balance patches that you'd probably see for more modern competitive titles like League of Legends and games like League of Legends, like Street Fighter. But despite not having any regular updates or buffs or nerfs or DLC, some characters in Smash have become secret pocket picks for very specific situations. We're in the midst of a so-called Donkey Kong renaissance where players are joking that Melee has finally gotten a DLC character after years of almost no one using Donkey Kong. This guy, Amsa, became one of the best players in the world using Yoshi, a character who was once thought impossible to win with, and perhaps unsurprisingly at this point we have the hero of time. Yeah. Link, who was once considered a very middling character upon the game's release, has now a pretty unique place as a pretty unique counterpick character against Marth, the superior swordsman in Melee, and it's largely thanks to this guy. This is Aklo. He's a Fox main from Long Island who's been using a Link secondary for a pretty long time now, and he's currently considered the best active Link player in the world. And he's also been using Link as this counterpick against Marth, but more specifically, he's been using it against Zane, the current best player in the world as of the summer 2024 rankings. And the weirdest part is, it's kind of working, so let's talk about it.
He takes away from death right now. Power shield into the regular shield. And go right now, that's it. One more edge guard. Got to clean it up, one falling air perhaps. Down there, yes sir! That'll do it. Aklo, boy, it's grab legs. That's game, bro. Down there? Yeah! Okay! You know how to win the crowd over. Just pick a mid-tier, bro.
My name is Dawood. My tag is Aklo. I'm ranked 15th on the half-year Melee ranking, 10th on the 2023 ranking, and yeah.
So, let's just cut to the chase. Link is not an amazing character in Melee. But the weird thing to me is he's always been kind of a competent counterpick character against specifically Marth, who was ranked 4th on the tier list in 2002 and hasn't dropped to lower than 5th in any last one since. We're not gonna count this one. We aren't counting it, it's April Fool's. There hasn't been a tier list since 2021, whatever. The Japanese smasher Aniki was considered one of the best Link players in the world during the early days of Smash, having beaten the king of Smash, Ken, all the way back in 2006. And what's kind of cool to me about that is some of the concepts he applied in this matchup honestly still kind of work in 2024. That parallel of Aniki's Link challenging Ken's Marth, then the best player in the world, 18 years ago to Aklo's Link challenging Zane's Marth, now the best player in the world, is super cool to me. Largely because there really wasn't a Renaissance-like event that happened in current Melee to the same degree as a character like Donkey Kong. There's still only a handful of Link players out there doing it with some success though, but they're all quite competent against specifically Marth, even after close to 20 years of separation from Aniki to Aklo. So the question is, of course, why? And I don't know.
So I actually have practiced Link in every matchup. Like, it's not that I only know how to play Link against Marth. It's just like, in the reality of a tournament setting, it's most realistic to play Link against Marth on FD or like Peach on FD. And I do play Link in some other matchups too, such as like, I actually don't really like playing against Luigi as Fox, so on most of the time I'll just use Link. And then there are rare times against like Ice Climbers on FD where I go Link. I definitely can play Link in every matchup. It's just that I think playing Link against Marth is probably Link's best shot out of the top tiers, you know?
For anyone who knows about fighting games, it should go without saying that tier lists are more of a social construct than they are a defining way of how you should be playing the game. Yes, they do show what characters are better than others, that's true, but that's empirical data based on the current meta and time period as indicated by the rise of characters like, I don't know, Jigglypuff, Captain Falcon, and Yoshi. Link is not a character who has seen a drastic increase in usage, and it's doubtful he'll be making much of a shift in the tier list as it is now. But over the years, a handful of new tech, while very difficult, has become more and more doable. Things like acid dropping, Goron roll, bomb launching, bomb rocket, bomb shoot, bomb, and so much more have blessed our timelines with crazy clips once thought only doable by TAS. And they're actually pretty practical in normal gameplay if human players can start implementing them more regularly. Aside from Aklo, there are players like Red X and Kuya who are with the times. That was supposed to be a Hero of Time joke, and I'm just gonna cut that one off right there in terms of using these techs. But more importantly, almost all of these techs are reliant on this.
Oh, you mean this pie? I was saving it in my pocket for us to share. Let's eat. Oops.
Okay, so like all characters in the cast, Link's bomb throw lengths vary whether you do a regular A press or a smash throw, but he unfortunately doesn't have the same quirk as Peach turn-ups where a smash throw facing the opposite direction will go slightly further than a smash throw facing forward. But hey, you know what else would go a little bit further? If you subscribe to the channel. I'm sorry. I work really hard on these videos, and a lot of people watch them without ever realizing that they aren't subscribed. Many of these videos have hundreds of hours put into them, sometimes across multiple people, so if you want to support me and help make more videos like these possible, I would really appreciate it. If you did just subscribe, first off, welcome to the channel. I make a bunch of documentaries and explainer type pieces on the bullshit that is Super Smash Bros. Melee, and thanks for helping me out. But let's get back to Link's bombs.
There's no such thing as the fuse hitbox of the bomb. So it actually all has to do with the velocity of the bomb. The reason it's just like kind of sparking them and not blowing the opponent up, that's just because I didn't throw it
It's
at
going
them.
too slow, right?
It's going too slow, yeah.
Bombs are an interesting item in Melee in that they have several conditional properties, specifically in when they will explode. Bombs will explode when 1. They hit the hurt box of any character, 2. They collide with any surface above a certain speed threshold, and 3. They're met with a hitbox that deals 6% or more. If an attack deals under 6%, the bomb will just be nudged in a direction without blowing up. And if none of these conditions are met, the bomb will just naturally blow up after about 5 seconds. Link's bomb jump is a recovery that allows you to throw a bomb upwards, then blow yourself up by hitting the thrown bomb with the final hit of Link's up B. But the thing is, the end of Link's sword won't deal enough damage to surpass that 6% threshold needed to explode the bomb, because it has to happen in a single hit. So you have to hit the final aerial hit of the move with one of the inner hitboxes, specifically Link's head, in order to get an explosion and be able to use up B again. The reason for this also is, like I said, you have to deal 6% or more in a single attack. It can't be a multi-hit threshold thing. The problem is, though, this hitbox on Link's head deals exactly 6%, and Melee has this fun little thing called the stale move queue. In Melee, doing the same move repeatedly will make that move weaker or more stale. Stale moves deal slightly less damage for each consecutive time it's used, and staling works by keeping track of the last 9 moves your character used in a FIFO or first in, first out queue. These moves only enter the queue if they successfully hit a player and have dealt percent. So in this case, if you hit Link's bomb with the up B, you won't be adding to the stale move queue since they're considered objects that don't take damage, which is why you can chain Link bomb jumps together. At the beginning of a match or after each respawn, this queue is emptied and all moves become fresh, or unstaled as we call it. And when a move connects, the game will check how many times that move has appeared in the queue, then decrease the damage of the move based on a certain reduction factor. So you can probably see where I'm going with this, but like I said, Link's up B deals exactly 6%. So if Link hits an opponent with up B at all, it'll enter the stale move queue, which means the up B sweet spot will deal less than 6%, which means the bomb won't blow up, which means you won't get the recovery you want. So this kind of makes using up B as a grounded damaging move a little bit feast or famine in that, yeah, you have a pretty powerful and fairly good out of shield option, but the trade-off you make is that once the spin attack connects, it's staled, and once it's staled, even just once, you can no longer use it to bomb jump for as long as it remains in the queue. Aklo did this quite well in his set against Kadoran, yeah, another Marth, at the New Year's Eve NYC Tournament Redemption Rumble in Game 2 of the Grands Reset. Here, he just straight up avoided using up B altogether for the duration of this stock, which let him get the bomb jump when it mattered most. But I'll give a bit of an asterisk here and say Kadoran didn't really put Aklo in a position where he would have had to recover with up B before this interaction even happened. By comparison, in the set versus Zane, it's a little bit more dicey to go for it. We see Aklo get a pretty straightforward up B out of shield against Zane's down tilt to secure the stock, but he's at 108% here, so most Marth hits will send far enough off stage to where a bomb jump could be warranted. Knowing this though, Aklo actually does something really cool in my opinion. He gets hit off stage at 151% thanks to Zane's strong hit Dolphin Slash, but good DI allows him to survive it here. Aklo is a bit far on the recovery though, where if he just sunk down and tried to up B or air dodge tether to ledge, it would be super telegraphed. So instead he pulls a bomb, but Aklo knows he can't do the up B bomb jump because he had already connected with the grounded up B earlier in the stock. Also, just really quickly here, the spacing here is a bit close, so even if Aklo could do the up B bomb jump, I'm not sure if he would even want to, because Zane may be able to react to that long setup. But anyway, with bomb in hand, Aklo instead goes for a Z drop into Bear to explode the bomb and recover to the platform. Both hits of Link's Bear deal 7% unstaled, so Aklo even has a little bit more leeway to convert this if he had used Bear previously in the stock, versus up B, which requires the move to not be in the stale move queue at all. Now, he does just end up dying at the end of this anyway, but I really like this mix-up here because I think under most circumstances, Zane is a disciplined enough player to be able to find a way to kill at this position, so trying something new and introducing it so early into the set adds another angle Zane will need to account for later on in the set. This is super calculated from Aklo's perspective, and I really like that it forces Zane to almost over-index on Link's recovery options, because again, this character is supposed to be bad, right? Another way Aklo uses bombs to great effect in this matchup is by almost feigning a disadvantage state. Check this out in game 1. Aklo lets his bomb blow up, and Zane thinks he can sneak off the platform to get a punish, but Aklo jumps out of the hit stun and lands in air. This looks pretty basic on the surface, but you may be wondering how he got the bomb to explode in the first place. If we zoom in, you can see that Aklo actually Z-dropped this bomb right before landing and shielding. Then the velocity from the bomb's travel distance broke that required speed threshold in order to have it explode. This puts Aklo in a little bit of hit stun, sure, but depending on positioning, it can be a really excellent baiting tool, and it does eventually result in Aklo getting an entire stock for it. Final note on bombs, and that's the incredibly weird RPS situations we were getting due to the sheer volume of projectiles Aklo is throwing at Zane in this set. Placing bombs on platforms creates some weird spacing situations, especially against Marth since his item throw is kind of bad. But by the end of the set, a common defensive pattern we would see would be something like Aklo throws a bomb, Zane power shields it to send it back, Aklo uses Link's actual shield to deflect the return bomb and reset to neutral. What I find really funny about this interaction though is that both players benefit from crouching, but in different ways. For Aklo, he literally gets a physical shield that can block projectiles by just crouching and not using the shield button. For Zane, if he's crouching, power shielding becomes significantly easier for Marth. Marth is a bit weird in that his shield doesn't initially follow his body. This is why you typically see Marth players use crouch before they go for power shield in more common matchups like Marth versus Falco, for instance. Bit of a tangent, but there also exists a technique called Z power shielding where you keep the A button pressed while inputting a digital press of L or R at the same time as a Z button press. That's probably sounding really confusing, so I'm gonna put a controller on the screen and show you the inputs for that. But this type of power shield gives you a much larger frame window to power shield an attack or projectile, as well as a significantly larger shield bubble, since the Z input shield size, which is the largest possible light shield, takes priority over L and R inputs. We don't really see this all too often since you need to be holding the A button down to get it, but if you want to learn more about this, you can check out Kadano's Smashboard post about it from 2015. In this situation versus Link Bomb though, and generally speaking, a projectile power shield happens when an incoming projectile connects with your power shield sphere during the first 2 frames of shielding. Again, I just think this is kind of a funny interaction between both players, especially when you have to like RPS the throw timing as well, because it is a little bit reactable for Zane to be able to get crouch power shield on thrown bomb, and being able to, you know, just crouch and block it is kind of neat too. So anyway, I digress. Let's go back into the matchup. The problem with this matchup is that Link is really f***ing slow. His fastest move is Nair, which is also just literally broken since the hitbox stays out longer than the animation shows, but it's fairly weak, so you'll often see things like a Nair to Nair as a connecting tool, or a falling Nair from deep to edge guard. But if you're going for that in the first place, you're usually hard committing to those positions, which has its own risks. Link is tied for the 3rd slowest roll in the game in terms of frame data, but his spot dodge kind of saves him a little bit, being tied for the fastest in the game at 22 total frames. And we see this spot dodge come into play against Marth a lot. Nerd notes coming through though, so cover your ears if you're not here for frame data. 3, 2, 1, okay, I gave you a warning, I'm going into it. This is an interaction where if Link spot dodges and Marth grabs on exactly the same frame, Link just has a clean 8 frames of advantage. The problem is though that the only move that would work with this frame advantage is Link's jab, which comes out on frame 6. Up B is still an 8-frame startup, which ties this advantage, so that one's a bit more tricky. That's why in the very first stock of game 1 versus Zane though, you see Aklo successfully spot dodge Zane's grab around 5 frames after it starts, but he has no real punish, so he just walks away to reset. Aklo talks about this facet of the matchup and why we saw such a difference between their Eggdog Invitational and Riptide sets, saying he was trying to prioritize winning neutral as many times as it would take without pushing certain positions.
During the Riptide set, really prioritized maintaining center stage and just winning neutral over and over again, whereas at Eggdog, if I got Zane like into the corner or something like that, I would try to push it instead of just maintaining it. Do you know what I mean? As Link versus Marth, if you really want to win, if something is not guaranteed, just don't even take it. And like obviously that doesn't go for every single scenario, but like if there's risk involved where you could lose a stock, in my opinion that's just not worth it, because I think it's really hard to make comebacks with Link as well.
Yeah, I noticed that actually, and it's funny that you say that because I was trying to come up with a segment in this video for it, and then you made like a 3-stock comeback.
Oh yeah, that
in
is
the
true.
Second game against Zane. I was like, well, damn. Because I agree with you. Like, I think his comeback potential is pretty bad, right? Like, you have to play like very disciplined.
Yeah, if you made a big, like more than a stock comeback on someone who's like your level, I think you severely outplayed them in neutral.
I think the third game against Zane is a really good indicator of this patience, and it's on Yoshi's Story, the smallest of all the legal stages, and one where you would expect players to try to end stock sooner, and it's a game that Aklo lost. At 6:35, we see Aklo go for a deep offstage nair to try to even up the stock count, but like I said before, if you're going for this, you're likely hard committing to it, so he just gets reversaled and makes the stock deficit even wider. But as soon as he makes what I would call a bit of a neutral error, Aklo goes into the all-neutral mode he mentioned. He's able to bring it all the way back to last stock, but with Aklo already over 100%, Zane is just able to get the win and begin to mount his comeback. 2 more close games would follow on Dreamland 64, a much larger stage to promote many more neutral interactions, but it just unfortunately wasn't Aklo's day.
There was one part of the set where Zane lifted like 230, and that just kind of won him the match in my opinion. That was actually like kind of a negative part about choosing Dreamland, is that Link he doesn't really kill off like the bottom much, right? Like when he hits people, they can always DI up. So Zane was able to recover high a lot of times, and Link is good at edgeguarding Marth when he's recovering low. But when Marth is recovering high, it's a lot harder for him. So I think that gave me a lot of trouble.
Aklo got the people hopeful, bringing it to a last stock in Game 5, but Zane showed what makes him the current best player in the world, stifling those dreams of a Link in Grand Finals in an instant.
Aklo trying to get this kill. 203. 203 where Aaron called his at. Oh, 213, okay, 228. Okay, here we go. Winners last finals. Game, last stock.
Riptide 2024.
Yep. Oh! Indy. Shut it on down. That was so fast. I was ready for some neutral to be played, some dash dances, a couple of projectiles. Zay was like, GG's, brother.
You just got to clip a man in this movement and call it a day.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on this video. I appreciate that. Thanks to everybody who supported me and cheered me on at Riptide. There were actually a lot of people cheering for me, and it really made me happy to hear and see. Obviously, huge shout outs to my sponsor for helping me get to Riptide and doing so many great things for me, and as well as the scene. Nouns, by the way, I didn't say it, it's Nouns. And yeah, just really appreciative of all of that.
Aklo's Link is one of the most unique things to bless top-level Melee because he's able to show both sides of the tier list. He has this Fox that's very obviously helped him reach top 10 player status at the end of 2023, and then this wacky and weird pick for specifically Marth, which also helped get him there. Aklo is so good at playing in a reserved and calculated way, and Link with his arsenal of projectiles really shows how he was able to make it this far in his Melee career. He didn't get there at Riptide versus Zane, sure, but it's the closest he's ever gotten to Zane with a character that many thought was honestly just plain bad, and it's really starting to show just how much of a mid-tier weakness the current best player in the world may have. But one thing is for certain, if the hero of time has anything, it's time. And I for one am so excited to see what kind of magic Aklo can make with this character next.
Hey everyone, this was Aklo. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe to Walt, and if you didn't like it, fuck Walt and go subscribe to my channel.
Yo, wait, you 180'd on me. That's crazy. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we're gonna run it. Let's go.
Is that okay or not?
Yeah, that's amazing. And what do you mean, is that okay? I love that. Thank you for that. That's funny. This channel is funded by my Patreon, and if you want to be a producer of the channel and help me be able to do this even more often, you can join over at the link in the description. I also have a full, like, 45-minute interview with Aklo and many other players over there that you can check out if you're a member, and I think they have a lot of really cool information if you're into that sort of thing. Thanks to all my patrons who help make videos like these possible, especially Avishua Bobby Wasabi, Bold Italics, Eric is Cool, and NNG Esports. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all of the support on my recent videos. That has honestly really made me super happy. I'm trying something new here as well with some of the more on-camera stuff, so let me know what you think about that. And of course, please like and subscribe if you like what you saw. And as always, there is much more on the way. So we'll see you next time.